In the last video, we created a very basic select.xml template, and we saw how adding select.xml to the URL executes that template, which basically grabs the raw data from my Excel file and returns it in my browser in CSV. So the job of the select layer is to interact with your raw data and expose it to the web. While this is somewhat basic, it sets the foundation for everything else we're going to do in SimplerGov, and it's this foundation that translates later into power, speed, and flexibility. So let's get into working more with select.xml. I'm going to define a few specific columns. The raw data has 11 columns, but let's say I just want to work with 3 of those columns. I just specify column name equals and put the name of my 3 columns. Now, when I save and refresh my browser, I get only the column names I defined. This becomes very useful with large data sets where you may be interested in only exposing some of the columns. I've added all of the column names from my data set. So now if I save and refresh, again I get the whole data set returned in my browser. Let's look at some of the most important attributes on the column tag. The filters attribute lets me specify what value or values to return. For example, filters equals 2008 on the year column will return only 2008 records. I'll add a filter on the type column, building violation, and now we see only records that contain 2008 and building violations. I'll add one more filter on the month tag, and I can use a list. Filter equals 1, 2, 3, save and refresh, and now I get just January, February, and March records. Or I can also use the between operator, which is 2 dots. So this will return months 1 through 7 and month 12. I can also use the not operator, an exclamation point, to exclude months. So this will return months 1 through 7 and month 12, but not month 3. Another important attribute is the select attribute. This attribute gives you a way to toggle on and off the columns you want to appear in your results. You can add a select equals yes or no attribute to every column if you like, but it's probably easier to go back up to the XLS tag and define a default setting for all of the columns. So for example, I'll add the attribute default select equals no at this level. And now by default no columns will be returned unless I add select equals yes at the column level. You could also reverse this and put default select equals yes and then add select equals no to the columns you don't want to appear. It would just depend on the data and whether you want to grab only a few of the columns or grab most of the columns and only exclude a few. Sort is another useful attribute. I'm going to move land use category up to the top here so we can see the sort order more clearly. And I'll just add sort equals yes. And now you can see the data is sorted alphabetically by that column. So filtering, selecting, sorting. These are the basic operations that you find in any data language, and in SimplerGov they are modeled here at the select layer in XML templates using the filter, sort, select attributes. And for tutorial purposes, we've been hard coding those attributes here, but next we'll get into how we make attributes dynamic and move control of the dataset to the URL and into the hands of the user. Again, we're building the foundation here for an extremely powerful search engine for data, and it's this simplicity of design that enables tremendous flexibility, power, and speed as we move forward. Thanks for watching.